Okay, let's just dive right into this. If you've been paying any attention to the tech world lately, you know that the artificial intelligence industry in 2026 is moving at an absolutely breakneck speed. It's incredibly exciting, but let's be real, it's also incredibly noisy and, frankly, a little overwhelming. Everywhere you look, there's a new tool, some new framework, or a new model promising to completely change the world. Well, welcome to this explainer. We're going to cut right through all of that noise today. We're taking a step back to look at the definitive 2026 AI engineering roadmap, and we're focusing entirely on the essential skills and fundamentals you actually need. It's the million-dollar question right now, isn't it? What skills do you actually need to become an AI engineer in 2026? I know exactly how it feels. You do a quick search online and bam, you're instantly hit with hundreds of completely conflicting answers. One blog post tells you to just learn Python, then a forum insists you need to dive straight into deep learning, while some YouTube comment is screaming that if you aren't doing prompt engineering in your sleep, you're already obsolete. It's totally confusing and it leaves you paralyzed, just not knowing where to take your very first step. Look, the natural instinct is to try and learn everything all at once. But the truth? You simply don't need to. You do not need to boil the ocean on day one. In fact, trying to learn everything simultaneously is probably one of the biggest mistakes beginners make. You really just need to learn the right topics, one at a time, in the right order. So here's the exact step-by-step roadmap we'll be covering. We're going to build a Python foundation, translate the math language, step up to machine and deep learning, explore the 2026 frontier, ground it all in real-world skills, and finally lay out your actual learning roadmap. All right, section 1, the Python foundation. This right here is the absolute bedrock of our roadmap. Python is literally the single most popular programming language in AI today. But breathe easy, you do not need to become a master coder overnight. Just grasp the basics. We're talking variables, loops, functions, conditions, and basic object-oriented programming. Once you've got that, you unlock specialized data structures and libraries like NumPy and Pandas. These are basically your go-to tools for wrestling with data, and data is the absolute lifeblood of all AI. Moving on to section 2, the math language. Now, I know just hearing the word math can cause a bit of anxiety for some of us, but bear with me here. You do not need highly advanced abstract mathematics. Every AI engineer really just needs a foundational grasp of core math. That means statistics, probability, linear algebra, vectors, matrices, and some basic calculus. You don't have to be a professional mathematician. You just need to know how these models actually understand patterns and make predictions. Really, just think of math as the language behind machine learning. It's not this scary barrier that's meant to keep you out. It's just the vocabulary you use to explain to a computer how to interpret the world. When you start viewing it as a helpful tool rather than a massive obstacle, everything starts to click into place. Next up, section 3, machine and deep learning. This is where your standard code actually elevates into an intelligent system. The pivotal shift here is that traditional programming gives a computer fixed rules to follow. Machine learning, on the other hand, is all about teaching computers how to learn from data directly. Now, you don't need to master every single algorithm on day one. Just understand the difference between supervised and unsupervised learning, get a grasp on what regression, classification, and clustering are, and learn how to do some basic model evaluation. Just focus on understanding how it conceptually works first. Once you have those machine learning basics down, you move right on to deep learning. Deep learning builds directly on those ML fundamentals to power neural networks. This is the tech behind the modern applications we use every single day. Image recognition, the voice assistants on our phones, sophisticated chatbots, and even self-driving technology. As a beginner, your main goal here is to understand what neural networks are, where they really shine, and to familiarize yourself with industry heavyweights like TensorFlow and PyTorch. That brings us to section 4, the 2026 frontier. All right, let's step into the cutting-edge requirements for this year. Generative AI is arguably one of the most valuable skills on the market today. Every AI engineer now needs to know how large language models, like ChatGPT, Google Gemini, and Claude, actually work under the hood. And a massive part of that is prompt engineering. You need to practice zero-shot prompting, few-shot prompting, and overall prompt optimization. Knowing how to communicate effectively with AI and how to steer it to get the exact output you need, well, it's no longer just a neat party trick. It's an absolute necessity for an engineer. And mastering that builds into something even more powerful, RAG, or Retrieval-Augmented Generation. This is exactly how modern apps guarantee reliable, up-to-date answers. The mechanism is brilliant, really. A user asks a question, that question gets converted into mathematical embeddings. and those embeddings search a vector database to retrieve factual info. Finally, the AI uses that retrieved info to generate a highly accurate answer. It is the ultimate defense against those dreaded AI hallucinations. Section 5. Real-world skills. So we've covered a lot of theory, but what does an AI engineer actually do all day? Well, you solve real-world problems. But before you can build systems that, say, recommend videos or predict sales, you have to do the dirty work. You must learn to efficiently clean and analyze messy data. Think of it kind of like prepping all your ingredients before you can actually start cooking. From there, you're building small projects, using Git and GitHub for version control, working with APIs to connect different systems, and learning the basics of AWS and the cloud to host your solutions. But here is one golden rule you absolutely must remember. Tools change, skills stay with you. Beginners often obsess over the hottest new AI tool, completely forgetting that next week it'll probably be replaced by something else. Without your Python and machine learning foundations, those advanced topics will always feel like a struggle. So focus on the foundational skills, because those will serve you for your entire career. Finally, Section 6, your learning roadmap. Bringing all these pieces together, here is your precise chronological sequence so you don't get overwhelmed. Month 1, focus exclusively on Python. Month 2, understand the basics of machine learning. Month 3, explore deep learning. Month 4, dive deep into generative AI and prompt engineering. Month 5 and beyond, start building real projects using APIs, GitHub, and cloud platforms. Remember, trying to learn everything too quickly is a huge mistake. Slow progress with regular, consistent practice is so much better than rushing through everything and retaining absolutely nothing. Follow this order, learn one topic at a time, and the journey becomes so much easier. Because here's the reality of the 2026 job market. Companies are looking for practical skills, not just a stack of random certificates. They want to see that you actually understand data, that you're a continuous learner, and most importantly, that you have built real, functional projects. The industry heavily rewards those who can actually apply their knowledge to solve actual problems. So, having seen this clear path laid out right in front of you, I have to ask, are you ready to stop rushing and start building your first AI project today? The roadmap is right here. The choice to take that first step, to learn consistently and improve one step at a time, is entirely yours. Keep exploring, keep building, and thank you so much for joining me on this explainer.